Do you know what social lifting is? The chances are you don't. Do you have social lifting in your country? The chances are you don't. Have you ever heard of social lifting? Again, the chances are you haven't. Well, actually, the chances are I confused you with the name of this title and the thumbnail that I did. Because most likely you haven't been familiar with this idea of social lifting. Yet, social lifting is a very real thing in my country, in Russia. It exists, and it's possible that social lifting is one of the main reasons of Russia's troubles, including the current situation, why my country is in what it is right now. Social lifting is described as a process that allows people to go from the bottom class to the top class, from the commoners to the elites. Howdy, everyone. Welcome to Inside Russia. My name is Konstantin, streaming live, giving you updates on what is happening in Russia. Thank you for coming. Hope everyone is having a good Sunday. And I'm going to tell you my take on one of Russia's deepest problems that exist as society. There's going to be some history lessons, and hopefully you will understand Russia more, how it works and why it works the way it works after you listen to my message. I lived in the USA for quite some time, for 9 years, and I was born and raised in the USSR, then Russia. So I have quite a bit of experience of living in different social systems. And when I first came to the USA in 1996, I was actually amazed by a few things, including the lack of social lifting. You see that I found that Americans were so similar to Russians in many ways. Mostly emotions, feelings, the way we loved, the way we cared of our families, the way we, attitude towards children, parents, things like that. Yet, Americans were so different. Their values towards country building, society, were very, very different from what I had been used in Russia. One of the most amazing things that I found was there was no social lifting because there was no bottom and there was no top. Well, of course, society, people in the society have status, and so it's called social status. And the social status can be lower or can be higher. But the key difference is social status depends on you, only on you, and you are the driver behind your own social status. You go to school, you work hard, you participate in public life, and you be decent, by your actions you drive your social status up. You are the only one responsible. You see, that's very different from what I had been used in Russia again, because we had social classes. Now let me take you a few steps back in time and kind of explain how Russian society has worked over the last 9 centuries. You see, I can divide Russian history into three parts, major parts. First is what happened before 1917, the Tsar Russia, and that period lasted for about 9 centuries, from 11th century to early 20th century. The second period is Bolshevik Revolution, 1917 to 1991, and the third period is the modern day Russia. Russia, before let's take a look at let's start with the period before 1917. Russia ruled by the czars. You see, there were two distinct, different classes, social classes: the nobles, dворяне, as it sounds in Russian, and it was the ruling class, the top class, the high class, the few. And there was another class called the commoners, чернь, the lower class, the servants, the many. You could not be made, well, you could not at the times, and this system lasted over, centuries in Russia. And it had been unchanged for hundreds of years, right? You were born into the classes, pretty much. There was very little of social lifting. The upper class, the ruling class, was, again, very few people, and most were the lower class. The people who were being ruled, so to speak. There were two ways you could be made the noble. First, the easiest, the simplest, you were born into the nobility. If your family were the nobles, you were automatically a noble. And the second is, if you were a commoner, but you did something extraordinary, then the Tsar could grant you nobility, could grant you the title. And nobility came with great benefits. The nobility enjoyed quite a few perks, so to speak, in today's language. First of all, nobility could own slaves. They were slavery. There was slavery in Russia from about 11th century to 1861. Slavery in different forms. It was called крепостное право. They were peasants who were not allowed, who were property of the nobles, and they could not allow, they didn't have rights, or they didn't have many rights. So basically, slavery, okay? So the nobles could own slaves. They served in Russian army as commanders only. They never worked. Some of them got money from the government on regular basis, and they were untouchables. If a noble would commit a crime, he or she would be tried by a special court for the nobles. Well, not even the court, but a special system of punishment, so to speak. That system existed in Russia for a long, long time. Then the Bolshevik Revolution happened in 1917, and everything changed. The commoners took power, and, well, they quickly became the nobles, so to speak, but there were two periods within that huge period from 1917 to 1991, the Soviet Union period. So the first sub-period was 1917 to 1955, Joseph Stalin rule. So that was a very strange time. Joseph Stalin did not have, he built a system of himself. There was one person in charge, one person making decisions, one person ruling, one person ruling party, so to speak. They were, of course, the elites the new elites, the Bolshevik elites, but they came and go very fast because Joseph Stalin would just kill everyone. He would kill ministers, he'd kill army leaders, it was rotation, the purge. You all heard of that. There's the Red Terror, it's called. Okay, so in some ways, there was no elite as people were rotating very fast. So elite class didn't have time long enough to form. That was a very brief period in Russian history, and it was a very strange period. It's actually a period to learn from. Then another period from 1953 to 1991. Stalin died, or he was killed. There are many theories about that, I don't know. But things got back to normal, so to speak. A ruling class, the elite, or the elites, formed, the new elites, the communist elites. And the person who changed everything was none other than Nikita Khrushchev. Okay? One of the few things he did, one of the first things he did as a ruler, the leader of Communist Party, he changed Stalin's system. He made sure that the members of Communist Party could not be prosecuted at the common law. Not too many people know about that, but then again, Russians don't really care about the history in general. They don't want to learn for the reason unknown to me. So there was a Communist Party. There were a few million, I think like 3 million people. And that was the new ruling class. It had a special name in the USSR. It was called nomenclatura. The translation into English would not be right. The nomenclature, basically, nomenclatura was the people appointed to the positions of power. But in order to get appointed, in order to get into that system, you had to become the member of nomenclatura. You had to become a member of Communist Party. So instead of previous older Russia, the nobles versus the commoners, in the USSR it was nomenclatura versus the commoners. Not much changed. Two social classes remained. The status of being in nomenclatura, being part of a nomenclatura, brought privileges. Actually, very, very great privileges. Nomenclatura people, they got large apartments and houses from the government free of charge. They got servants. They had access to special food stores with no line, no shortages of anything. They had special courts. Again, they, just like the nobles back in the Tsar Russia, were tried into different conditions. The Communist Party members, the nomenclatura people, had also a different court system for them. The regular court system for commoners was not applied to them. There were two conditions how you could become nomenclatura. And actually, that's where social lifting comes into play. Remember the name of the stream? The social lifting? If you were a commoner, then actually you could easily become a part of higher class. You could move easily. You first had to become the member of Communist Party. Well, it was doable. It wasn't easy, but it was doable for many people. And the second, you had to pledge allegiance. You had to show complete 100 utmost loyalty to the system. You had to promote system. You had to give up your own beliefs, your own ideas, and you have to become not a small, not or a bolt of this system. That was the prerequisites for, using social lift. And actually, social lifting itself in Soviet Union was much greater than in Tsar Russia, because people would start from the very bottom and they had a good chance of raising on top. Okay, all rulers of Soviet Union, Brezhnev, Andropov, Yeltsin, Khrushchev, they started on the bottom, okay? And they rose to become the leaders of the USSR. Even Andropov, they weren't born into power, okay? But they used social liftings. They did something extraordinary, and they actually were creating their careers for themselves. But they did it within the Communist Party. Without the Communist Party, not a chance. Well, that was the system I had grown up, I grew up in. I know that system quite well. I learned a lot from my grandfathers. Both my grandfathers were not part of the nomenclatura, and I'm actually coming from a very poor family, or rather two families of the commoners. And one of my granddads had a good shot at becoming nomenclatura and going high places, within the Communist Party, within nomenclatura. He was an officer in the Russian army and Soviet army during World War II. And after the war was over, he stayed in Crimea. And he was originally from Rostov, stayed in Crimea, and he started working as the grower of grapes. And Crimea was very known for its grapes, and it still is. And my granddad, one of my granddads, was in charge. He grew up, he became an expert, such an expert that he was in charge of winemaking of grape growing for a large winemaker called Massandra. It's still a very known place. And my granddad is still remembered from 45 to 50 to 66. He was employed there and he was growing grapes. Very tough job to do because grapes require, lots of knowledge and lots of skills to be grown into the right condition. And actually, my granddad was acknowledged for his skills. He was brought to Kiev to teach. He was brought to Moscow to showcase his products at VDNH, which is the highest honor for a working person. And back in 1965, he was about to be given the highest honor for a working class person. He was gonna be given a medal, the Hero of Soviet Union of Labor. There was one prerequisite. He was told that he'd be given a medal if he joined the party, the Communist Party. All he had to do is write a note. This person would like to be given this privilege to join the Communist Party and sign it. That's it. But he didn't like communists. Communists were cruel to his family. They killed his dad. They shot his brothers, and he was the only one remaining. So he told them, if you recognize my working skills and my work, then give me the medal regardless. And if you don't, if you think I'm not worthy, just don't give it to me. So they didn't give it to him. They gave him an option, actually, to become a communist, and they they did a roadmap for him to grow, to become the second secretary of Communist Party of the certain region, then the first secretary, then go to the Republic, perhaps go into Moscow. So he had a nice career laid out. But he basically told them to go to hell, and that's it. He canceled his future within Communist Party. But then he got so upset not receiving that medal, saying, hey, I just worked for it with my own hands. Then he took his family and they moved from Crimea, away from Crimea, to Rostov. And then basically he threw his skills and experience of growing grapes away. He simply got a job as a very entry-level security guard at a large factory. He spent 9 years there and retired. That's the story of one of my grandfathers, right? So I know this communist CRRP, please, excuse me, please, you know. Another period is, well, still is, from 91 to present day, the new Russia. Again, this period has two sub-periods, from 91 to 2000, from 2000 to 2022. You see, in 1991, the Soviet system fell apart, and it was quite fascinating time. I like it very much. The freedom years, the chaos, because the government ceased to exist. It existed, but it was not powerful, okay? KGB didn't have any powers. Police didn't have any powers. Courts didn't have any powers. You know, people were trying to inventing the wheel, so to speak, you know, and try to build a society for themselves. Mafia was rampant because it was vacuum of power and mafia came in. But anyway, very challenging, very tough times, but the free times. There weren't any classes. We were, for the first time in the history, a free society. But it did not last long, because a new period started in 2000. Vladimir Putin came to power, and we all know that he is a big fan of the USSR. He thinks that the destruction of the USSR was one of the greatest tragedies of the 20th century. So basically, put two and two together, he started building the USSR. It took him 4 years to kind of look around, I think, to establish himself as a strong president and to create a roadmap. And in 2004, a new class system in present-day Russia was born. It is called the vertical of power, вертикаль власти. The system is very strong right now. The core of the system is there's a new ruling class. Who that is given the power over managing Russia, ruling Russia. The power class versus of those who are not in power, the commoners again. You know, the elites versus the commoners. The power people versus the commoners. This system was not created overnight. It was built over 10 years, and it was built by stepping stones. I've told about this many times. Nothing happens in Russia overnight, but you can be sure that stepping stones are always at work. So this system was being built from 2004 to 2014, and by 2014 it was very, very strong. Okay, again, our powers were gone of regular people. The class system was built. And it resembles the system of the USSR quite well. A lot of similarities. Vladimir Putin is a big fan of the USSR. He built kind of the same thing. It's called differently. And there are a couple big differences. Just give me a couple seconds. There was Communist Party in the USSR. Now it's the United Russia Party. The Communist Party took a certain place in Moscow as headquarters. Right now, this very same headquarters, they're home of this United Party. So not only, the only thing they changed is name, they are still physically located in the same place where Politburo was. There was Politburo. back in the USSR. There is Politburo right now. It's called differently, but it's very few people who decide what happens in Russia. It's back then, and that's probably the biggest difference. Back then, the members of nomenclatura, members of the ruling party, they had access to material things that was provided by the government for the duration of their participation in this system, right? When you were appointed and when you had a job, you had access to food, to apartments. Once you were out of job, everything was stripped. Everything was taken from you. But now what happens is people of the ruling party, different politicians, different administrators, mayors, governors, and heads of the departments, members of different government departments, local, federal, they have access to money. Money flows. It's called the money flows, okay? So they have an opportunity to steal money. And this is corruption. Vladimir Putin said many times that corruption is Russia's biggest problem. One of the biggest, I agree with him. So they have access to money. That huge flow of money is going to the, good example, salaries, teachers, for medic assistance, for, medical field, for free medicine to Russians, and so forth. And then there are people who control, and they take small or big parts for themselves. Corruption, okay? So back then, the communist members of the ruling party, they could not accumulate any wealth for themselves, okay? They had benefits as long as they were part of the system. Now, even if you are not part of the system anymore, you still have that money left over, In one of our previous streams, I was telling the story of a guy who was studying in California, and his dad was making money in Kamchatka, Far East, selling off fishing licenses and stuff like that. So that type of thing. This is a very rigid two-class system. There's a lot of power given to power agencies, power bloc, so-called, the police, the KGB, state prosecution, the courts, and so forth. There's very little freedoms remain, personal freedoms, because, hey, commoners, who cares about commoners, Like I said, the ruling party people have access to money, to the budget of Russia, and they use it for their own, some of them use it for their own good. And there are millions and tens of millions of Russians part of this new two-class system right now. So this is what we have today. So this two-class system, social system, is one of the reasons why Russia is in this bad place that it is right now. Something has definitely gone very, very wrong recently. And a lot of people asking why Russians aren't changing things, why Russians aren't protesting, why Russians aren't, standing up. The thing is, Russians have been conditioned, and I'm talking about the commoners, the lower class. They have been conditioned for centuries not to stand up, not to protest, not to try to attempt change things. I know this is 21st century, but a lot of people simply don't know any better. They've never been out of Russia. They have never seen how things work in other societies. I have. I can compare, but they haven't. And when I tell people, that's my personal experience, some simply don't believe me. Well, actually, quite a few. They don't believe me that other system, other than that we have in Russia, can exist and does exist. They feel there's a catch somewhere outside Russia. they feel like, they portray an image of democracy, of, this one-class society, but they lie, and in reality is different, okay? I think that Russians don't know any better. Many, many Russians don't know any better. And I think that's the majority of people. And if you want to look at the deep reasons why Russia is having troubles right now, that probably is one of the directions to look into. This system that we have had over the centuries, it's actually blocking Russia from shining, from becoming what it has potential to become. This social lifting system, this two-class society system with social lifts, social lifting from one to another class, is actually has been silently killing Russia over the centuries. And lately, in the last 15 years, it has gotten Russia into the such bad position that the magnitude of trouble cannot even be assessed right now, okay? So I hope that one day, we in Russia will become one-class society of free people. And this has been my message today. Thank you so much for giving me a chance. Thank you for coming. Please let me know what you think. Let me know if you find it valuable and if you find it interesting. If you found something new for yourself from my today's stream. Let me turn on the comments. As usual, please use common sense. And respect me, respect the mods, respect everyone in this community. The comments are on, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Before I start going into the comments and questions, I would like to ask English people. I'm learning so much about tea, and recently I learned that English breakfast or Irish breakfast teas are actually for breakfast. My question is, do you actually drink them not just in breakfast, but at evening, or you have special teas for that? I know there are special teas for that, but please let me know if I'm the only one who drinks English breakfast, actually not for breakfast. Hot here in Tashkent. They turned on the heat, central heating, but it's still warm. It's like 68 degrees outside. Even with my windows open, it's hot, hot, hot. Lorna, Blackhead, Mommy, you're number one today, as usual. Thank you. Thank you so much. Amir, Harry, Bob, thank you for joining. Everyone, Dirk, Brian, Luca, Joy, Timo, William, Ryan, Brian Woods, Jeffrey, Bruce, Tim, Air Force, Viking, Agnes, and the usual suspects. Thank you very much. I hope everyone is having a great Sunday. Let me know what you think. Not easy message to deliver, let me tell you. It took me half day to prepare. I had to look into Russian history myself. And I hope you like it. If you want me to learn to see the question easier, please put it in caps and put inside Russia after @ so it appears in a large orange box. Pamela J. Feel like I should have taken notes. Thank you. That's a huge compliment, by the way. Thank you so much. Ferrari guy, howdy. Frank, the highwayman. Beirutus. Why are Russians so averse to republicanism and are drawn to autocratic rule? Well, I think my stream was the answer, or at least, one of the answers. Conditioning. 1,000 years of conditioning. Because this two-class system was established, again, it was not established overnight because Russia had been a free society before, but it was established around 11th century BC. That's where the slavery was established. And slavery brought two-class system, or the two-class system brought slavery, I'm not sure, because I'm not such a great expert on that far back into Russian history. But after that, thousands of years, hundreds of years of conditioning, okay? And I think that's what's kind of keeping Russians from on the ground. They cannot jump. They have this weight on their feet, and that was keeping them down. Because otherwise, Russia is such a great country, and somehow people act in a very strange way. There's a huge super chat from Ian. Thank you so much. Inside Russia, what you describe is conditional corruption, nomenclature, the system of procedure of assigning names to groups or of organisms as part of a classification. I actually did not, thank you, I did not see this explanation of nomenclature. Latin roots, I think. Thank you, mods. Thank you so much. Well, look, thanks. This is a very refreshing thought. Thank you for letting me know. The support is huge. I really, really appreciate it and very welcomed here. Thank you. Nomenclature system in Soviet Union was the system of jobs, and every job had responsibilities and powers that came with it, and it was assigning people to jobs. If you are a part of a nomenclature, that you hold certain position within this system, okay? That's what it worked. It's kind of the same thing, only from a different angle. So thank you so much. Again, Rudy Kaisley, I beg to differ. We in US recently had a president who was trying to develop social lifting here. He had a bad hairstyle. Folks, please don't quote me for the last, 10 years in the United States. My knowledge of your country goes, it ends around 2010, okay? Because after that, I wasn't there personally. I wasn't witnessing what was happening. I hope that you will overcome this madness, because this is one of the greatest things that what your country has. The American dream, everyone is equal. Everyone is equal in front of, in terms of opportunities. Everything is up to you. You can be self-made, but you can also self-destruct. You are, faced. You are taken equally in the face of court system. This is gold. You don't understand what you have, okay? Please know that this is hugely important. We don't have that. And trust me, you are so lucky to have that. Well, you created it for yourself. It's not like you were born into this stuff, right? But still, just keep it. I hope you keep it, and I hope you just, you don't lose it. Amir, thank you so much. How was your nap? Pro tip, put the phone on a nightstand before your head hit the pillow. I will do that. Did you hear me snoring or something? It was strange. I didn't put it there. It's automatic. Somehow the phone got the voice, Very strange. And something was playing on YouTube that I didn't actually start playing, like some Russian movie. YouTube does that sometimes, yeah. Nap was great. I slept for 4 hours. Agnes, thank you, Konstantin. Perfect topic today. It is very strange to find out the differences between our histories. Fascinating, much worse in your country indeed. Thank you again. Thank you, Agnes. Thank you, Agnes. You know what? One thing to consider for you Europeans, Peter the Great was actually who established the modern day dynasty, Tsar dynasty, the Romanovs, that ended in 1917. He was the latest, the most progressive Tsar. But when he was young, he was eager to learn and he was looking up to Europe. So he did, it's called the Great Embassy. 1696, he took all his people himself and he actually went to Europe to study how Europe was organized. Okay, and he went to Germany, I believe Hamburg, to learn shipbuilding. Hamburg. Rotterdam, perhaps, not Hamburg, not Germany, Netherlands. But anyway, to Europe, and he stayed there along with his government, with his people, with his nobility that surrounded him. And he was learning. He pretended to be a commoner, like a regular person, and he would learn things himself. But the thing is, already in 1696, you had free society, okay? That's the question I cannot answer to myself. The Russian Tsar took everyone to learn from you, and you at the time already were so advanced. You were a free society, of free people, of free markets, okay? And Russia was just, how that's possible? That's a question I don't understand. I need tea. It gets me going, I'm not jealous or anything. It's just that I want to understand, I want to understand where Russia did not develop, where it didn't take the right turn, at what period of history. Gosh, anyway, thank you, Agnes. Thank you for your support and thank you for the feedback. GB, good name. Thank you for the support. Hey, Konstantin, my son Alex and I love Russian culture and love the game Tetris. Yeah, Pazhitnov. We want to know if Tetris is popular in Russia as it is in the United States. Thank you. Do you know that, you must know that Tetris was designed by Alexei Pazhitnov, a Russian, back in 1984. It was hugely popular in Russia. It was sold in different ways, computer software, standalone, like handheld games and things like that. I personally love Tetris. Not too many Russians know that's actually Russian who designed it, who built it. I see quite a few questions without super chats. Let me jump into them. Larry Perez, howdy. Thank you. Sees YouTube. Can you comment on the relationship between the ruling party and the Russian Orthodox Church? Does one serve the other or more complex than that? Well, I can tell you, absolutely, yes. Relationship between the ruling party and the Russian Orthodox Church. Well, there was Russian Orthodox Church in the USSR, but at Stalin years, most of the popes, priests were killed, executed, and there was new kind of priests. The KGB agents became priests, and they controlled the Orthodox Church. It's a known fact, okay? You can't argue with that. Just look up the history. And the Russian Church has always been praising power, praising Tsar. Now it's praising the United Russia and so forth. Topic I don't want to get into because it's very personal. This concerns faith, religion, God. I have something inside of me in terms of faith, and I don't have religion, I have faith. And this is my relationship with God. Other people, other Russian Orthodox Church, they are to work out their own relationship with God. They have rights, and then they will have, each one of them will have responsibility to answer for their actions in the afterlife, Team Wanderloo, interesting idea. I'll need to think about this perspective. Thank you. Team, thank you for the feedback. Oh, Gloria, thank you so much. We'll drink breakfast tea anytime. I just realized 2 days ago that breakfast tea is actually very strong in terms of caffeine and flavor, stronger than, for example, Earl Grey. I didn't know that before. And then it hit me like a ball of lightning. Like perhaps breakfast tea should be drank only for breakfast. I was like, no, I'm doing it wrong. But actually, thank you. You gave me hope. It's good. Very, very good. What I do is at breakfast, I brew it stronger. And right now I brew it lighter, so to speak, Debbie, hi from London. I'm another year older today. Hope you're well. Does it mean that you have birthday? Well, if it is, then it's a happy birthday song for you. Debbie Fenton. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Debbie. Happy birthday to you. Woohoo. Happy birthday. I wish you many happy returns of the day. Mysterious audio message in Telegram. Did I miss something? No. Frank, you didn't miss anything. It must have been somehow the telephone picked me up sleeping, and as YouTube was playing, and then it played and played and played different things, and I slept for 4 hours. So I don't really know what that message was about, Just Terry, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Agreed. Ray, any news on a P.O. box? I was gonna go and check today, but I fell asleep. I am so sorry. I will do soon. This coming week, I'll definitely check it out. Chirper, I drink Twinings breakfast tea all day. That's what I'm drinking right now. Twinings breakfast. Koshkin Dom, howdy. There is a message from Jason Carney, and that's a gift of sponsorship to 10 people. Jason, thank you so very much from me and from 10 lucky people. Blackad, thank you so much. What can I say? Thank you. Now the official member of the mod team. I appreciate your support. You've been one of the strongest supporters financially, and you've given me emotionally, so much more that you've given me in terms of money, but money's also been great. Thank you so very much. And now you're giving me as this active mod of the community. So thank you. SF Joe, what do you think the class percentage breakdown is? 80-20. Well, there are let's say the ruling class, it's not homogeneous. There are people who make decisions, and there are servants to the ones who make decisions, but the members of the ruling class. And Politburo is very small. I would say it's around 100 people. The people who make decisions and they benefit greatly, probably a few thousand. And the rest is lower class bureaucrats, policemen, KGB people, and so forth. I would say 14 million is, I would say 20% of the ruling class, with very small elite of the ruling class and 80% of commoners. But, This is just my subjective opinion. I can't give you the numbers. Lars Henrik, breakfast tea is not drinking more than for breakfast in England. Not drinking more than. I didn't get it. Is it for breakfast only or not for breakfast only? I think it's not for breakfast only. That's what you're saying. Thank you. Lars Henrik, again, thank you for the sponsorship. 5 people from me and from Lucky 5 people. Thank you. Mike, thank you for your support. You laughing or you crying? I didn't get the. That's cool anyway. Thank you. I slept for 4 hours today. I'm constantly want to sleep in Tashkent. Constantly because, well, right now it's midnight. Well, it's not midnight. It's almost 2 a.m. And it takes me another hour to wind down and go to sleep, and I wake up at 9. So it's 5 hours, sometimes 4, sometimes 6, and couple short naps during the day. So I think it starts getting to me. That's what it is. And I feel guilty because I could have spent it takes so much efforts and so much time to work on the book and on the movie. I could have spent 4 hours on that, but anyway. Welcome, Exploring with Azuinos. Welcome, friends. Thank you for becoming the sponsors. Don Walters. How does Duma fit into vertical of power? It certainly is one of the top institutions in the vertical of power. Lawmaking. But before, when they were just making first steps of creating this system, Duma was actually very independent. The politicians, the senators, deputati in Duma, they had a big area of independence, so to speak, in lawmaking, in introducing the agendas, the topics, and so forth. Now, all senators, they work within the agenda of their party. If it's United Russia, everyone votes how the bosses of United Russia say, If it's like the communists, everyone votes as communists say. And then that's, I don't really know. It's a top institution, but with very limited independence. Let's put it this way. MS Scotty, thank you so much. When you arrived in America, you became a Russian American. It's that. If it was that, you know what? If it was that easy, I would come tomorrow. Thank you so much for the message. That's actually also gives me hope, I still consider America as my second home, and I still consider it. I haven't changed my opinion of the country. I still consider it absolutely great place. Funny observation, my own personal observation about the USA. Since my channel has grown and I started getting feedback around 2020, 2021, early 2021, there was so much feedback coming from the viewers. And that was the first time I started feeling like I was receiving more than I was giving. A lot of people have been saying, hey, America has changed. Things are not so great in America anymore. There's parties fight each other and economy is not great. But there are my friends who live in America or who left for America recently. And I talk to them and I ask them, I say, listen, people are saying this. Is that true? They say, well, that's true, mostly. But they say, even with these things, even with the parties, even with this woke stuff and everything, it's 1,000 times better than in Russia. So, there we have it. Agnes, thank you so much. I've noticed just now there is no daylight savings change in Uzbekistan? I hope so, because I can watch you an hour earlier now. That's an excellent question. So it's 1 hour earlier for you. Perhaps I should make it 1 hour earlier for me. Let me check it real quick. No daylight changes for Uzbekistan in 2022. Interesting. The last change was done in 1991, 1 hour back, 29 September of 1991. So it's been a few days since then, you know. SD, give small history of serfs, please. Please specify. I didn't understand. I understood the money, but I didn't understand the question. I'm sorry. What kind of history of like Russian peasants, Russian serfs? What kind of history are you looking for? Give me the idea for a stream, and if I find it interesting, I will do the stream. Lately, some people have been emailing me with good ideas, so thank you. You know who you are. Thank you so much. Another casual observer. Is it possible that Russians suffer from Stockholm Syndrome after 1,000+ years of oppression? Possible. I'm studying this right now. I'm researching. It's not a very easy topic. It takes time, and it takes lots of reading, lots of studying. I will do a video, and I will do a live stream, and it's going to be a grand one, because this is a huge question, and there got to be an answer for that, you know. Thank you for your support, and thanks for the question. Oh, I feel fired up after all that sleep, you know. I'm not feeling tired. I'm not feeling sleepy. Hopefully, I'll go to bed after this, and I won't be up for 4 hours. Mike, thank you so much for your support. Keep it up. Mike, to you personally, you can be sure that I will keep on showing up here every single day. Air Force is here. Thank you. Brian Woods, the two-class system explains a lot. Brian, thank you so much. I'm glad that I brought something valuable to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Joshua Halsell, wow, long time no see. Well, straight from Instagram. Joshua, thank you so much for coming back. Just returned from my UK France trip. Please share on Instagram. Looking forward to hear from you. Darren, Englishman living in Tbilisi. Let's do a meetup. I will visit Tbilisi within a month or so. I have some business to take care of there. Shadow Guy, thank you so much. Smile is very appreciated along with the money. Rafael Madrigal, more of the same until Putin moves out of the way. My friend, I'm afraid Putin is not Russia's biggest problems. I'm afraid that just in place of Putin, somebody else will come. You know, that's not about personalities. It's about the system. Adabs, thank you so much. Good insight as ever. Does the ruling class have any fears? Yes, it does. Well, its worst fears kind of happened because watch my previous streams. In one of the streams, I dedicated to why Russians who need to be living inside Russia, they live outside Russia. So basically, they become the ruling class in Russia. The oligarchs, the politicians, you know, the government people, they have access to money. They do their thing, corruption. They benefit greatly, okay? It's not a secret. Instead of living in Russia, as soon as they make money, they move their families to France, to the United States, to the UK, to Italy, all over Europe. And they make money, mostly legally, lots of money in Russia, and they funnel into the countries where actually there is democracy, there is law, there's order, there's court, and everything else, right? And then the biggest fear is that, well, two fears. First of all, they will be thrown out of this and put to jail. And the second, which is not the biggest fear, the biggest is that all the money that they have taken overseas, they will be seized and confiscated. And they won't be given permission to go to Europe, to the United States, and so forth. So they'll be stuck in Russia. That is their biggest fear. And then if they're all stuck in Russia, guess what's going to happen? When you put spiders, many spiders, into one can, what happens? Go figure. I think that's their biggest fear. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay strong. I admire your honesty and humbleness. Russia needs me. Thank you. From Long Island, New York, USA. Long Island. I briefly visited my friend. I lived a week or so in a place called Bayside. Do you know what that is? I think it was Bayside. A commute from Manhattan. Andrew Azen, thank you so much. I believe most of the world was once as Russia. It is what King John singing the Magna Carta that started freedom of common people. King John singing the Magna Carta. Not singing, signing. What's Magna Carta? You live, you learn. Anyway, thank you for the message. Thanks for the money. I will look what Magna Carta is. If you think it started the freedom for common people, that definitely worth studying. We need our own Magna Carta. Well, it's so important that I'm going to write it down. Okay, moving on to X Flying Tiger. Thank you so much for your support as usual. The serial super chatter. John and Nikki, Lake Shasta, California. Regarding America, this is a great country. Too much pessimism by some here, but it's a wonderful country still. No need to make it great again. Yeah, just keep it up. Keep the way it is. That's all required from you. I have this suggestion to all Americans who think that America has fallen down and, it's terrible and everything. You come and live in Russia for 1 year. And then you come back, and then I'll have to see what you have to say. Amir, you didn't have any tea before your Telegram message. No, I did not. Easy on the move, howdy, from Montreal, Canada, Tea Squad. Yes, I drink English breakfast or any tea all the time, depending on mood. Though an English breakfast latte with cat oat milk and no sugar is a great start to the day. I never put sugar, never ever put sugar in my tea. Nothing, no milk, no lemon. I just enjoy the tea's, this very core taste. Don't dilute it with anything. The Depressed Manatee. Wow, what a name. Much love to you from America. You show the true Russian spirit and heart. Thank you so much. I hope you become less depressed. Dale Eladicus, thank you for the history lesson. Very insightful. Great message. Thank you, Dale. Koshkin Dom, very interesting stream. Last year I took an exam on Russian history and culture. Should have listened to your stream back then. Well, it's never too late. Thank you. Scott Nesbitt, thank you for doing anything for Halloween. Little take Michael to get candy. In Uzbekistan, they don't do Halloween whatsoever. In Russia, they are thinking of banning Halloween. I'm gonna do a community post tomorrow. This is just incredible. Just gets better and better every day, you know. Where do the serfs' history fit? Can you briefly describe? What is the serfs' history? I don't understand. SD. There is no serfs' history independently from, you know. Do you mean like the slavery, the крепостное право? Is that what you mean? I can do that, but I don't understand. Like, what about the, you know, the serf? What is serfs' history? Magna Carta 1215, a king and his government are not above the law. Please, someone give it to Russia. Please, someone. Do you know that there is a federal law that actually the president of Russia cannot go to jail for any actions while he's the president? And they just signed a new law. They extended after he ends to be the president. He cannot be tried for any freaking crime, okay? How sick is that? So someone, please, give us Magna Carta. Well, someone, it's just people, you know. Thank you. I'll look into that. SD, thank you for your information regarding your stream days ago. Since then, the head of Crimean RT has perished in a pistol range accident. Yes, I saw that today. Very strange death. Shooting range, there's a young lady, a beautiful lady, and it's not known what she was doing at the gun range, pistol range. At the gun range, it's called tir in Russian. But it's fishy, you know. Shadow Guy, thank you from Switzerland. Did you plan on staying in the US when you moved there? Or to move back eventually? Greetings from a fellow traveler, American in Switzerland. Thank you. Thank you so much. Great, excellent support and great question. Just in a couple seconds. Nikki Bedford, thank you very much from somewhere in Europe. I see. Thank you. Much appreciated. And Natasha Panfilova-Zuino. I check your Instagram quite often. Checked it today. Thank you so much for the support. Anyway, back to the question. When I was going to the United States, I initially was going to do 1 year educational program. Then I ended up staying for a few more years, finishing the school. Then the reason for that was I started working for a family in Maine. And you can go and watch my video about that, how I fell in love with America. Actually, I did pretty good job working for them in the summertime, and they offered me to stay and study in the United States. They would help me out with one condition. I would work for them, okay? And I did work for them. I ended up working for that family for 8 years. And then after I made that decision, it went everything went along. You know, I was... Holy moly. Oh, I'm sorry. Just the entire side of the city went dark. Hang on 1 second. I gotta check out what's happening. Wow. Power outage. Incredible. Tashkent, the capital, the very center of the city. Whew. Anyway, so after I made decision to stay for, to continue studying, then it kind of went along, you know. And the next decision was to come back to Russia. After 9 years. A lot of people ask me these days, oh, now you must be regretting. I am not regret. I don't regret anything. I don't regret my decisions made. If I didn't come back to Russia, I wouldn't have found my second wife, you know, I wouldn't have had Michael, I wouldn't have like this great friendships and experiences in life. I would not be in this place. Bill Taylor, thank you so much for your support. No message, but $20 is a very powerful message. Thank you. What is the Russian term for social lifting? Социальный лифт. Ferrari guy, what is the West supposed to do when forcibly pitted violently against these victims of centuries of social conditioning of Russian peasants? It's a question I ask myself, okay. Beirut, what do you envision as the political future of Russia? Hard to tell. We are at the crossroads right now, and we can take different paths, and each path leads into a completely different direction. Could be good, could be bad, could be... I can't say that it could be the best thing happens to Russia because lives lost. If it was no blood, I could say perhaps Russians need to fall low to actually rise up, okay? But it's terrible. The lives lost just cancels this idea. Anyway, I'm sorry, I don't know. Chocolate latte, most English drink English breakfast tea all day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Coventry, UK, we drink breakfast tea any time of the day. Here many drink coffee to wake up. Breakfast tea is a blend, usually Assam and Ceylon or Assam and Kenyan, made with drop of milk. Thank you. Can drink whatever tea you want. I don't have any after 5 p.m., so I can. Why you don't drink tea after 5 p.m.? Interesting. Can Russia be broken up, and if not, what could bring about change? David, this is a possibility, but I don't, again, this is not a question to ask me. God knows, I don't. One of the possibilities, it can be, but it would be a tragedy for Russia. Perhaps not a tragedy, I don't know. It's time to pray. Please join Constantine in prayer. Couple questions from the last section, and we will go into prayer. Time's up, says Nightbot. I never mess with the time bot. How long can you stay in Uzbekistan? David Moore. Indefinitely. Or at least according to the current legislation. Ian, a new member of the mod team, suggesting time's up. That's funny. Black Cat, $4. Thank you so much. Have you heard that Telegram has been blocked in Russia? No, it has not been. Melissa, very good question, but it's a little misleading. They blocked. There's a service that gives you short links inside Telegram. That service has been blocked. Well, it was blocked, but then they unblocked it. So there's some kind of power struggle going on in the Russian government that we do not see. I will follow that up, and I will definitely try to get inside info on that. So I'll let you know. Some kind of craziness going on, but now everything works currently. Parliamentary immaturity. It's also in Belgium. Miss me. Thank you. Um, Ferrari guy, in the West, the law tended toward the tool of people instead of tool of the government. Not exactly, but agreed. It's the rule of law rather than by law. Thank you, agreed. Now, time to pray. Another casual observer. Good message today. Please pray for our children every single day. Every single day. That's one of the most important prayers I have for my child, for my children, and for yours, for all of us. Thank you. And Damien De Silva never understood why Russia fears the outside world, especially the West. Peter was the last of the outlooking czars. Will have history. Totally artificial. Hey, to keep the power, you have to have an enemy outside. Because if there's no enemy, then you cannot explain many of the actions that you take. If there's enemy, then you scare people, make up things, fake up things, and then that's it. Voila. You can rule indefinitely. So this is it. America's favorite Brazilian lived in Trump village, Brighton Beach. I know Russians very well. Beautiful women, good friends. Thank you. Good message. I've been there too. So, my friends, this is it. Time to pray. Good stream today. And sleeping before stream for 4 hours actually does wonders. Please join me in prayer. Thank you so much, everyone. Dear God, thank you for giving us this Sunday, and thank you for giving us this week. Thanks for putting food on our tables and roofs over our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with people who we love and who love us. Please, dear God, help us to raise our children the way that when they grow up, they will make this world a better place, will never engage in wars with one another, with each other. And please keep our children healthy and safe. Please stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. We need your help really, really bad to stop it. It's been going on for such a long time. So many lives are lost. This must be stopped ASAP. Please reach out and touch the hearts of people who need to be touched. And touch them in a way that you know, so they make the decision to stop this bloodshed. Please help every single person in Ukraine who has been affected. Give them strength. Give them recovery. Give them soothe their souls, please. Give them forgiveness. And those who have lost the loved ones, dear God, I don't know how to ask you to help them. You only know. I am merely asking you to please help those people in the way that you know. Please send everyone an angel that will protect every single person in Ukraine, so not one single drop of blood is shed any longer. Please help my country, Russia. Send an army of strong angels with sharpest swords, led by Saint Michael in shining armor, to get rid of the demons that have hijacked my country. Make angels run Russia, so it's righteous and it's friendly and it's peaceful again. Please help everyone who's traveling and everyone who is fleeing the countries, fleeing the places, running away from the evil and running away from the bed. Send those people help. Please help all Ukrainians who have fled to Europe. God bless, please, those who are helping Ukrainians there, opening their wallets, hearts, houses, and helping those people. Please help the Russians who have fled to different countries, running away from this grim possibility of taking up guns and going and killing, being forced to kill other people. Please help all who have fled away from it. Please send them help. We need peace, and we are asking for peace in general. We are so tired of wars, conflicts, deaths. We just need to stop all of that. We cannot do it on our own. We need your help, dear God. Please help us. We just want to live happy lives, be happy, be peaceful, spend time with our families, with the loved ones. Please help us. I'm also asking for all pregnant women who are making decision whether to keep babies or not. Please reach out and touch them, talk to them so they make the right choice. Thank you for bringing us into this wonderful community and allowing us to pray together. Please help everyone who is praying or watching us pray, answer their prayers and make their wishes come true. I also have some people who have reached out and asked for your help. They are Rafaela from, her daughter Anna, and Priscilla, Michelin, King Nero, Gaby Hyman, Martina, Joanne, Donald from Wisconsin, Allison Dave Moyers, I found Waldo, Liz, Deborah, Isabel Ligo, Janice Burgess, and Maureen M., and her sister, Ariana, Terry Scrugg, Bruce, Kayleen, Michael, Thomas, Tony, Jessica, Minutes to Midnight, Sandra Workman and her husband Rod, Mr. Hanson, Heidi Howitz, Geeky's granddad, Terry Carter, Golden Griffon, Carol Reed, Robert Morgan's sister, Jacob, Ian, Umel and Jennifer, Andrea, Rob, Ashley and family, Angelic at Life, Florian G, Cosmision, Matt, Mr. Dean Spooner and his church that is called Our Savior Lutheran Church. User with the name Cancer Survivor. Barry Reading's sister, Leslie Fleming. Elena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Galina, Igor, Buzz, Jean-Paul, Paula, Janine, Michael Milkowitz, Marlene, Susan S., Fiona, Madeline, Stephen, Ellen, Freddie, Sabrina, Felicia, Paul Binns, Precious Father, family of Rudy Kaisley, Richard, Mallory M., Dirk Misler and his dad, Jess Terry, Brittany S., Lars Henrik, Wait for It, Lane Hankins, Bridget Apley, Hannah and her children, Agnes's sister, May Scott Nesbitt's sister, rest in peace, Ian, Cindy Braddock, Richard Burris, James Rhodes, Ace, Scan family grandson, Grace, Barb, Randolph, Vladimir Istomin, CS2216 and daughter Lori, China Bill, Brian McManus, Harry's son, Verlinda, Alan Sneeze. Thank you so very much. Also, I'd like to ask for very special children. Maverick, Sebastian, Coulter. Please help them, give them recovery. So the families need them healthy and safe. Thank you so very much, our dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. My friends, thank you so much for coming. This has been a great stream. Going into Monday, another work week. Well, the last day for work for me tomorrow, Monday. Work free on Tuesday. That's gonna be quite a new experience, but with God's help, I'll figure something out, Thank you again. Thank you. And before I sign off, Andrew Eisen, thank you so much. Before I sign off, Carthago delende est.